Welcome to Take That MS, another great group here on Thursday. Again, thank you for joining us. Just a reminder that we are recording these sessions to create our library. So at brightbod.com, there's a library of all of our discussions and our questions and answers and talks. So we're able to come back to these later and get some answers. So this is a great resource. We appreciate your participation in this. This is Take That MS, an online support group for MS. My name's Caroline Craven. I'm a certified life coach. We'll be talking about different things during the course of these discussions. This one is going to be on tips to stay healthy during the holidays, and a little bit more about me. I'm a certified life coach, nutrition educator, freelance writer, blogger. One of my blog has been voted top MS blog for the last couple of years by Healthline. I've been hired as a patient expert on several occasions, and on Twitter and Facebook, I am the Girl with MS. You can visit my blog and my tips and tricks at girlwithms.com. And as I start off all of my talks, as you know, we have a plan. We may have a plan. We usually often have plans, and they go awry, whether it's the MS, whether it's other things. But for me, this is what I feel like I am constantly faced day after day, and needing tips and tricks to how to adjust my life and my how I do things, my actions, to respond accordingly. So we're going to go through 10 tips for staying healthy during the holidays with MS. Is this, I'm sorry, you guys, is there a screen across the top there? Are you seeing a black bar, like a power control bar on the top, or do you just see health tip number 1?
We only see health tip number 1.
Perfect. Thanks. It's part of the Zoom software, and it usually is down below. I apologize. So thank you. I just wanted to double check. So health tip number 1. You guys, this sounds so easy, but this is something, breathing deep. This is something that I remind myself every day, because what we're about to be faced with the holidays, or what we already are faced with, is a lot of activity, a lot of family, a lot of friends, a lot of what could be good times, hopefully, what also could be bad times or could bring up different memories. In other words, the holidays could be an anxious time for many, and it can definitely make the MS exacerbated. So one of the first things I want to remind everyone about is to breathe deep. And one great little breathing exercise I like to do is just breathe in one big breath, and while you're breathing in, just count to 3 silently. Just 1, 2, 3. Breathe in deep, so you're filling your whole rib cage. And then exhale, and exhale, count to 5. So a little bit longer on the exhale. And just doing that once makes a big difference. And then what you can do is start adding different intentions with your breath. Things like, I need to slow down, or I want to slow down. Let me find a nice rhythm here. Just sort of think about positive thoughts while you're taking these deep breaths. Keep it simple, but just something like this will help ground you during some anxious times during the holidays. Health tip or lifestyle tip number 2, think of one thing each morning that you are grateful for, and why. Why are you grateful for it? And then write it down. If you guys have your journal going from your 520 last week, this is a great place to write, something down in your journal. If not, just put it on a scrap piece of paper. The point is that by thinking of it and then actually processing it in with your hand on paper, with a pen, it helps you solidify all of these thoughts. So think about what you're grateful for and why. And one thing, today we're having a beautiful fall here. The colors are changing, and I love the change of season. I mean, I think many people do. But it's like, why is that important? It's important. It's always a nice, say at the fall time when your family might come home if they're gone away at university or things like that. So people might just like it because it's football, or they might like it because it's cooler. But think of something as to why you're grateful for it and write that down in your journal. Oh, watch what you eat. And this is a difficult time to do this. I know that. We are tempted, and there are great foods everywhere, it seems like. And my two things that I focus on here, I don't like to limit myself necessarily, especially with what I want to eat. I mean, if I want to eat some pie, I want to eat pie. If I want to eat turkey, I want to eat turkey. But let's not gorge out. Let's just keep all the portions small. And every time we think we've taken enough, maybe put a little bit back, just a little bit less than what we think is enough. And let's keep that portion size small. Another thing I'd like to think about when I'm eating, and this is throughout the year, is to eat with intention. That means don't sit down at your computer and wolf down food while you're eating. While you're working. That's not eating with intention. Don't eat while you're driving. Don't eat on the hoof. I had somebody say that once. Oh, she's eating on the hoof. Well, they were British, and it all made sense coming in their cute little British accent. But that's not eating with intention. What's much healthier is sitting down at a table, creating a nice place setting, or it doesn't even have to be nice. Just sit down at a table, put your plate down, think about what you're eating, let your mind and your body come to rest and pause, and take that time to re-energize for the next part of your day. Sleep. Trying to get sleep, I know, can be really difficult for people. But during this time especially, it's very important that we try to get as much sleep as possible. Sleep is a time that our battery rejuvenates. My favorite tip, probably the one best thing that I can do for myself, and I recommend, is on days that you can, get to bed before midnight, and try to get to bed as early as you can before midnight. There have been studies done about the quality of sleep, and there are some cases where the quality of sleep before midnight is better and higher quality than the sleep you get after midnight. Somebody even once said that every hour before midnight equaled about 2 hours after midnight. So go ahead and get your body into that circadian rhythm and let it go to sleep as it starts to get late, and wake up early. I know that can be difficult for a lot of people, so take advantage of some tools, some tricks like essential oils, diffuse some lavender or cedar wood in your room, do some reading and make some relaxing tea, maybe do a little meditation. But anything you can do to help you get to sleep will really help you through the holidays. Find a healthy escape. This could be part of your 520 like we created last week. Maybe take 20 minutes to do something each day. This helps with the senses. Imagine you've got your visual, your aromas, your taste, your hearing. So maybe what you might do is some music, or do some cooking, do some gardening, do something that is not work and it's not housework. Now, I know cooking could be housework, but do a fun project for cooking. Maybe do some canning, or do something else, that might help, some baking. Go out for a stroll. Strolls are very relaxing and rejuvenating, but just take a few minutes for yourself, and this will definitely help you handle the stress during the holidays. Lifestyle tip number 6, this is ask for help. This is probably something I say so often, but it's very important. Always ask for help. If you feel like you need it or you want it, And I know that you want to be the superhero to get through it, but think about your health and go ahead and ask for it. And help doesn't, need to come in the form of help. Like here, it could be guidance, tips, assistance. Has a friend ever offered to take you to the market if your MS is acting up? Have they offered to do things for you? Well, instead of saying no, go ahead and say yes. It's just only going to help you. And then on the flip side of that, on those days you're feeling pretty good, go ahead and help others. And this, I do call this a healthy tip, because this helps our whole well-being of being there for others, helping others. And on days that we can, we'll help them knowing that they'll be there for us. They might be there for us when we need help. But things like this makes us feel good. And anytime we can feel good and create joy, more joy in our life, we're going to deal with these holidays in a better way. Communication, you guys, this is tip number 8, is to focus on your communication. Think about how you're communicating and make sure you're being very crystal clear, especially in a time like this with the holidays. Not only are we talking, but let's pay attention to listening. Go ahead and call a friend. Do not, go ahead and clarify, and don't assume. When you assume, that can create a lot of errors and a lot of problems. So just try to be as clear as possible. This is just a great way to just something to be aware of. Think of it when you're talking to people. How am I being as clear as possible? Have I gotten back to that person? Let's keep this going, and let's keep so that we're all on the same page. And then lifestyle and healthy tip number 9 is to be kind and pamper you. And this might just be in the form of taking a nice bath with some bath salts, maybe go to, do a little mini spa at your house, treat yourself to a massage. But remember to be kind to you and do things that make you feel good as well. This is a busy time, and we're demanding a lot on our body. We're in the middle of a seasonal change, so we want to make sure that we're acknowledging all of these stressors and making sure that we're pampering us and being kind. So definitely add this onto your list of holiday to-dos. And then my favorite lifestyle tip, my favorite healthy tip, is if you see someone without a smile, give them yours. And I used to hear this from our horse trainer, who was the Olympic coach for a couple years for the United States team. But smiling is probably one of the best things, especially if you're feeling down, you're feeling stressed, you've got the anxiety of the holidays, you've got the anxiety of your MS, you can't do things, you're frustrated. But if you can smile, and better yet, if you can pass that on to somebody else, that feeling, that's a feeling that we want to encompass during the holidays. We really want to keep that feeling encompassed all year, but that's what we would like to do to get us through the holidays in the healthiest way we can. So those are my top 10 tricks there and tips that I wanted to get us started on this discussion. And I was hoping then we could just open it up and get and talk. Can I? Oh, cool. No, wait.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, now I can.
All right,
Thank
I
you.
have a few questions. So at the beginning, you were talking about only eating as much as you need to eat, and even if you think that you have enough, put a little bit of the food back. And so to what extent does MS affect your appetite if you're newly diagnosed, and does it change over the course of your experience?
Does. That's a good question. And appetite can be different for anybody with MS, and there's several reasons why. Because MS affects everybody so differently. When it hit me, I actually had a hard time eating, and I got ridiculously skinny and emaciated. I actually couldn't eat for months. I kept, one, I had no appetite, but then I just kept, I went into spasms, just like dry heaving all the time. And not everybody is hit that way. A lot of people are hit differently, where they'll start to gain weight because of their MS, or they might eat differently because they're depressed over their MS, or they can't be as active because of their MS. And so sometimes it's hard to rein in that calorie intake if you can't exert it like you want to. So a lot of factors play in weight and eating with MS. I definitely think there are some foods that we can watch, and those are things like alcohol. I know it's fun, it's the holidays, but that can be hard on you, so just watch that during the holidays. Gluten can be pretty draining on a lot of people with MS. And I'm not saying pull it all out and you don't have to be gluten-free and all that, but if you find that you're eating a lot of bread or just heavy products like that, or heavy processed foods, both of those, I would watch the consumption of both of those and keep the food as whole and clean as you can.
I'd also like to know about how sleep is affected. Is sleep more important for people who are newly diagnosed, or is it just a common theme throughout?
Yeah. Sleep it's definitely, I would say, a common theme throughout. Now, some people have no problems with insomnia. Some people get it right away, and some people can acquire it later on. But sleep is so important for our bodies to heal. That's the time our body regenerates. All the organs sort of go through their resting from the day of eating and activities. And then at night, that's where everything needs to recharge. So it's very important that we get as much quality sleep as we can.
And the last question, and then I'll shut up. How can someone who's newly diagnosed with MS help others? What do you suggest?
Hmm. That's a great idea. Great question, because there's so many, especially if they're newly diagnosed. If you're involved in a support group in your area, but if you don't have MS and you say you have a friend that has MS and they're newly diagnosed and what they might need for help, some things is that people sometimes have problems cooking with their MS. Like, it depends on their disabilities or how hard it's hit them. Sometimes it's just a ride to the market. Sometimes the littlest things can be so overwhelming with MS, where you just want someone to come over and help you make a bed because you're not functioning quite right and you can't get the sheets on and off your bed. So for somebody without MS, there's a lot of things that they can do to help people. The hardest part knowing is where their need is. And I think the best thing is to ask them, but a lot of times people may not want to answer, especially at first, because sometimes when you're first diagnosed, it's hardest to accept the help. You want to fight through it. Of course, everybody's different, but also if you just see your friends struggling, if you feel like, gosh, their yard work hasn't been done, or their house, she can't keep up with the house cleaning, and maybe their birthday's coming up and you buy them a cleaning service for the day, something like that. There's just a lot of ways that you can help, your friends with MS. Does that cover it? Great. Yeah. So does anybody else have any questions out there? I know we've covered a lot of little topics here.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. How are you doing?
Good.
Good.
What benefits does breathing deep have?
Good question. Breathing deep can help ground us in some of the most anxietal moments that we have. And what happens is it's easy for us to get moving too fast. Let's get up, let's get going, let's eat fast, let's eat on the run, let's multitask. And during all that time, what's happening is that we start to breathe shallower and shallower. We're not really grounding ourselves. We end up almost kind of flying by the day. And so some of the benefits, one is it'll help us ground and calm down for the day or in the moment. We can really calm our nerves. People with MS get very frayed nerves, and they can. Breathing deep is a simple way to bring a little calmness to our bodies and our mind. So it calms both the body and the mind. Pardon? Yeah.
So it can slow life a little down a
It
bit?
can a little. That's a great way to look at it. I like that. It can slow life down a little. And in a good way, where it makes you more present in the moment. You just take a nice, big, deep breath into your belly, and then it's just, and just look around you and see, where am I? And I don't know. It definitely helps you get present.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
I think with MS that you may have difficulty with your extremities and stuff like that and moving around. What about with exercise? Would exercise or being mobile, would that assist you or help you along the way?
Yes, by doing exercise with MS?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I feel strongly that you should use it until you lose it. I think by getting weak in the muscles, we're more apt to lose we could be more apt to lose our abilities. And everything from stretching to aerobic or just walking, there's so many ways we can work out our body. Swimming is a great way for people with MS because of the many people have a heat intolerance, and swimming keeps the body and the core nice and cool, able to work out. I talked about taking a little meditative break, but you could easily just insert exercise in that list too. I think I've been in there for 20 minutes a day makes an amazing amount of difference. It also brings the mind and the body together again, like breathing deep, where we're just more in sync with ourselves after we have exercised. Yeah, definitely will help with the MS.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet.
I have a question.
Yes. Hi.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, I can. Thanks.
Thank you. Last week you had mentioned that initially, in your initial stage of MS, you were feeling a little tipsy, dizzy, woozy, something to that effect. You?
This one is not in. Where? 213, 18 is not in.
What? I lost that.
It might be out of order. Okay.
You froze up on me. Are you there, Wayne?
Yeah. Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, now I can. Thanks. Sorry.
Okay. All right. Let's try again. Last week you had mentioned that when you were initially diagnosed or in your initial stage of getting MS, or when you knew you had it, you were feeling a little tipsy, dizzy, woozy, something to that effect. I was wondering, does that still happen, and when does it happen?
It does, but not nearly as much. I've never really felt it as bad as I did then, after that initial attack. But every once in a while, what'll happen is it'll start to creep back. Mostly the vision goes first. And I think now I know it so well that once I start to get those little I call them red flags. You know, they're warning signs that an MS attack is on its way. Usually I get it if I'm, if I let myself get overstressed or overworked. It actually has not happened for a long time, which is nice. I feel like, oh, maybe I'm doing something right here, because I feel like they're getting less and less. But the heat used to really get me. The heat was almost the same as having a drink. Like that, I would just be out in the sun, 80, 90 degree weather, and I would start to falter and get that dizzy, woozy feeling. It doesn't happen quite as bad, but it does. As soon as I start to get a little stressed, say, that's what comes back.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, you bet. This is great, you guys. Any more questions for today? I know we've got a lot of good stuff coming up. Next week is Thanksgiving, and we won't be doing a program on Thanksgiving. Let's see, but I know you guys can always contact me at The Girl with MS and ask me questions and keep me aware of anything you might want to know and talk about. We have a lot of great topics coming up. So it's it's been good. I'm looking forward to the next couple months. Does anybody have any other questions or comments? Lauren?
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.